What is the spirit of the Antichrist? The phrase spirit of the Antichrist is found in 1 John 4, 2-3. This is the spirit of the Antichrist, which you have heard is coming and even now is already in the world. It's vital to understand the context of John's statements. A predominant worldview when he wrote this letter suggested that diverse spirits were at work in the world. Many false teachings, mystery religions, spiritual experiences, and variations of Christianity were emerging at the time. Dear friends, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits to see whether they are from God, because many false prophets have gone out into the world. 1 John 4:1. But how do we test the spirits? How do we recognize the spirit of the Antichrist? These spirits John spoke of were not merely disembodied supernatural beings. John taught that a prophet or teacher was the actual mouthpiece for a spirit. Spiritual doctrines are promulgated through human spokespersons. Teachers of truth are filled with the Spirit of God and thus are agents who speak for God. Teachers of falsehood are spreading the doctrines of demons. 1 Timothy 4:1 Nas B. So, the first test relates to theology or doctrine. Every spirit that acknowledges that Jesus Christ has come in the flesh is from God. 1 John 4:2. We can ask, does the content of the person's teaching acknowledge that Jesus Christ, fully God and fully human, has come in the flesh? If the answer is yes, then we know the Spirit of God inspires that person. If not, his entire teaching ought to be rejected. This particular test was especially apropos in John's day, as the heresy of Gnosticism was becoming prevalent. Gnosticism taught that Jesus only appeared to have a human body, but was not actually a flesh and blood person. Next, John says, "But every spirit that does not acknowledge Jesus is not from God. This is the spirit of the Antichrist." 1 John 4:3. Anyone who does not acknowledge Jesus Christ as the Bible presents him is inspired by the spirit of the Antichrist. The word Antichrist means against Christ. People who say that Jesus is not from God are controlled by the spirit of the Antichrist. Satan opposes Christ, and he desires to deceive people into a false view of who Jesus is. The spirit of the Antichrist teaches against Christ. To twist the truth about Jesus Christ is to pervert the gospel. Satan works to spread lies about Christ and keep people in the dark. Many deceivers who do not acknowledge Jesus Christ as coming in the flesh have gone out into the world. Any such person is the deceiver and the Antichrist. 2 John 1:7. The Bible teaches that the world will eventually produce a world ruler, called the Beast, in Revelation, who will wield great power and demand worship of himself. He will have a mouth to utter proud words and blasphemies, Revelation 13:5, and is empowered by Satan, Revelation 13:2. Today, the secret power of lawlessness is already at work, 2 Thessalonians 2:7. Even given the pervasive influence of the spirit of the Antichrist, there is no need to fear. As John reminds us, the Spirit of truth indwells all believers and provides protection from the spirit of the Antichrist. You, dear children, are from God and have overcome them, because the one who is in you is greater than the one who is in the world. 1 John 4:4. The believer's job is to test the spirits carefully. 1 John 4:1. We must be wise as serpents and innocent as doves. Matthew 10:16 ESV. We should not automatically embrace the message of any preacher or teacher simply because of his or her reputation or credentials. Rather, we must listen cautiously to their Christology. What they say about Jesus is of utmost importance.